Hi Joe, I'm going to start off talking about the statements page because I think that is a major draw for our landlords, a major selling point. This is the part which really makes life very easy for them in terms of receiving payments and also accounting for payments. And this is the bit that really, a lot of estate agents do on landlords' behalf. And so, I think that this is a major sort of a major breakthrough for a landlord to be able to manage their information in this way. So as you know, the students kind of log all their details down, and then Greg has shown you that the landlords can create a payment schedule which is then approved by the student. So at any point then the student knows what date their rent is due to be paid, how much they need to pay. There will be two ways for a student to pay. For a smaller landlord who perhaps doesn't want to receive card payments, they'll be able to pay by bank transfer. And once a student goes through the process of making a payment through the system and then does the bank transfer, then that payment will be pending verification by the landlord. So, that is once the landlord has a look at their bank statement, then they'll be able to verify that they've received the money, and then the colour of the transaction will go green to show that the student has their payment has actually been received. So that's one way, via bank transfer. But the larger landlords and the ones who perhaps want a more formal way of collecting money might insist that they use card payments. These card companies will have to do a vetting procedure on the landlords, but we do have the software in place for them to have a shopping basket and for them to go to a secure payment site depending on who they bank with and who they want to use as the card as the money collector via the card company. There's Streamline and there's Barclaycard and various others. I believe there's about 5 or 6 at least. So all of those will be able to what we would do is when a student makes payment, again, it would be pending until such time as the landlord approves the fact that they've received the money, but that they would be able to log into one of these card companies the next day and see that the transaction's gone through and who's made the transaction. So the information is very easily managed, and the students' accounts are very much updated at that time, so a student can log in the next day and see exactly the status of their account, that their money's gone through or it's still pending, and they can see exactly when their next payment is due and so on. And equally, if a student hasn't paid, a landlord can log in and see that a student is in arrears. So this is real-time accounting, and all parties can see this information instantly, which is brilliant. That's one of the major selling points of this. The landlords are going to love that because usually they get charged 7.5% for that kind of service, and obviously it's going to be a lot cheaper than that for them to run this through our system. Equally, they'll be able to chase the tenants using our chasing, our communication system, our messaging system. I'll have to ask Greg how to get into that. He'll be back down in a second. But basically, there's a thread of comments. You make your comment, and then that shows up forever ad infinitum, and that conversation between yourself and the student is recorded. So that's really, really useful for things like rent chasing or anything else. Actually, you're not searching through emails and trying to find this email and that email and having a memory of something being sent to you and not knowing where it is. It will all absolutely be bang on in front of you in the screen and there for everybody to view. So that's great. So I've mentioned that the landlords can receive bank transfers. I've mentioned that they can receive card payments and then reconcile with their card company afterwards. So really that is a very vital part of the system. Getting on to the tasks then, with regards to the tasks, the system method of communication will be once a student emails a landlord, then it will show up that there's, oh dear, I can't show you that, but basically the theory is that the email needs to be under a certain title, and there will be several sort of titles that the students have to file their message under. And you know, it could be about maintenance, it could be a more private message between them and the landlord, or it could be a group message. You know, whatever it is, it will be saved within that message thread, and the landlord will include it within that message thread. So it's a bit like Facebook, really. You know, anyone can kind of comment on it, and that work. I think that's going to work very, very well, because you know, usually back in the day at the estate agents, somebody would ring up and say, "Oh, my window is leaking." And then, you know, we would have to phone the landlord and let him know, and then he would phone his workman, and then they would phone us back and work out what time everyone could come, and then we would phone the tenant and let them know that this was the time that the workman was coming, and then maybe not all the tenants answer their phone, or we send a text message or something. All of that's kind of simplified by this message thread. So, you know, we just publish to all of the tenants that the window is going to be fixed on a certain date by a workman. A workman can also log in and see, you know, what the arrangements are, and they, you know, and everybody can comment within this message thread. So it just really does save a lot of hassle. Certainly in terms of setting up the tenancy in the first place as well. Once the tenants are on there, they can all comment between themselves in their group. They can comment to the landlord can comment back to them. You know, everything's kind of recorded then in a step-by-step basis, which is absolutely brilliant. Items from the calendar will also be kind of coming up, so there will be some diarised items like gas safety, electrical safety, this kind of thing, which you know, is really useful for the landlord and the tenants to see, you know, so that work can be very easily carried out and in a very organised way and in a completely lucid way from all parties. So again, you know, we're just really trying to make this whole process of letting a lot easier via communication. In terms of also perhaps, you know, setting up viewings for the next year's tenants, you know, the landlord can very easily sort of say, guys, we need to have access at 4 o'clock tomorrow, you know, and obviously that's really useful because then that's in writing as well, and everybody gets their message to check their login because there's a message for them. The other item that we will be including here under their paperwork, the students will have complete access to their tenancy agreement at all times, and their guarantor letter and their utility bill and their student status certificate, and they will also have access to the house papers, which will be like the gas safety, the electrical safety, the PAT test, all of the legal stuff which is required, and obviously all of these things as they annually need to be kind of updated, these certificates. That will go in the calendar as a job, everyone will know it's happening, the workman will come around and do it and then upload the document onto the system. So, you know, all of these things are really, really simplifying the whole system, and there's just utter clarity really between everybody, and I think those are the points that I would really like to push about this. It's just the ease of communication, the fact that the information is there 24 hours a day, the fact that you can get your hands on that information easily, whether you know, no matter where you are, and you know, I just think that this is absolutely invaluable for all of our landlords. They will also be able to eventually, although I probably shouldn't really go on too much about this because I'm not sure that it's available now, but they'll be able to enter their properties on a stock list on their own little website. And so when it comes to marketing for the following year, students will be able to see their properties via their small website, which is on our server. So that's also very useful. So yeah, really that's it. All house information basically, and all the things, you know, where there isn't currently a general centralised place for this information. This will be it. So, you know, that's really, I think those are the main points of the system as far as I'm concerned. So that's it from me. Greg?
Confirm
How do I switch it off? I don't know how to switch it off.
Okay. All right. Cheers, buddy. Speak to you in a bit. Bye.
It's disappeared. Oh, stop recording.